our topics are no limits. So what limits do you think you have in PT? And what limits are we going to tell you don't basically have in the profession when you graduate, once you get into PT school? Next is relationships. What relationships should you be seeking out, whether it's from faculty, each other, current PT students, research people, employers, whoever it is? That's what we'll be diving into. And also, it's Thanksgiving, so might as well get into that spirit, and we'll be asking you guys what you're thankful for, and we'll also be sharing ours as well. So I know I'm freezing up, but as long as you guys can hear me, that's all that matters.
Loud and clear, brother. Loud and clear. All right, guys. So this week we decided to come on Wednesday. Usually we come live on Thursdays, but because of the holidays, we didn't want to have y'all, half asleep after eating the turkey and everything else that you guys will be feasting on tomorrow. We didn't want you guys to, have to come back on Facebook and, listen to a talk when you guys may want to relax and have fun with your family. So we said, hey, let's move everything up a day. So we did the podcast on Tuesday, which was absolutely phenomenal. It was a blessing for Casey and myself to chat with Dr. Ben Fung, and really listen to his wisdom. That episode is absolutely fire. But tonight we're going to talk about the three topics that Casey just spoke about, primarily because as pre-PTs, when we were at that phase ourselves, we didn't understand these things the way we do now. We didn't understand the possibilities of what's really out there, of what we could really do with a degree in physical therapy. We didn't understand the types of connections and networks that we should be developing as pre-PTs in order to leverage ourselves so that when it was time to not only get into PT school, but also survive PT school and obviously dominate even after PT school when we became physical therapists. Like, we didn't know those things. And so we're going to share them with you now. And then also just being thankful for this past year. All of us have gone through different things leading up to this point. Some of you guys may have started out the year not knowing that you guys would even go into the field of physical therapy. You might have been in a different career path. You might have been in a different major or anything like that. And so we're going to end just talking about Thanksgiving and having you guys share on here in the comments what you guys have been thankful for. So let's begin with limits. Limits. Guys, as human beings, the one thing we know how to do well is limit ourselves. We know how to say no. If a kid is jumping up and down, we know how to say no. You got to sit down. If someone's talking too loud, we know how to say no. It's almost like we've been programmed to naturally say no. And so what we want to show you guys, and Pre-PT Grind really as a platform, is we want to show you guys all the yeses and how they can help you completely shift and transition your careers as future physical therapy students and future physical therapists. So, Casey, like, what are these limits, man? Like, so we've been told that that once we enter the field of physical therapy, it is an absolutely amazing field, which we both agree on. That's why we are in it. But there are limitations, and why? And so let's start with the what. What are some of those limitations before we get into the why it is important for them to understand that they are actually non-existent?
Yeah, so, I mean, I want to pose this question to the people who are watching, even if it's now or if it's later on replay. Like, what limits do you think are on either yourself or physical therapy? So I'm just going to do, like, quick overview. I'll probably mention a few. There's probably a lot that people will comment and say, oh, you can't do this, you can't, whatever. But a few limits are that you can't make a lot of money in PT. That's one quote-unquote limit that some people say. You say, Ben Fung mentioned this, that you're not a real physical therapist, or some people say you're not a real PT. If you're not working 40 hours a week, that's a quote-unquote limit that some people put on themselves or others. Another limit is like, you don't have the grades to get in PT school. You're not smart enough to get in PT school. You don't have enough connections, enough hours, whatever. They're putting limits on you just because of what you've done throughout, your undergrad, whatever it is, and also what they perceive to be true to get into PT schools. So that's the limit before you even get into the profession. Yeah. Another limit is like, doctors are, head, above us and above and beyond what we're supposed to be, and we have to look up to them. We have to bow down to them. That's another limit. Another limit is that we can't do like clinical jobs. We can't be in manager positions. We can't own businesses. We can't do something else besides PT. I can go on and on, but those are some limits. How about you? What do you think the limits were?
Man, honestly, like I think the limitation in that you cannot be anything other than a clinician. Simple as that.
Right.
And so you just hit it with all the different categories. But yeah, it's just because we've been told that to be the perfect physical therapist, you have to be a certain type of clinician. That is the only way to serve our population. That is the only way to serve our patients and the rest of the country as a whole. Whereas there's actually a lot of different avenues to do that. But those limitations are there. And here's the thing. They might not always seem as limitations, but to the right person, they may. Because what happens is we're all built creatively. So, for example, physical therapists are, we have a career where we're some of the most creative individuals, period. You'll see that because if you go to a clinic and you're trying to strengthen a patient or work on range of motion or work on coordination or all this other stuff, you'll see clinicians coming up with some pretty amazing ideas as to how they can do that for that one specific patient. So we have those creativities. And so in a field where everybody is really built creatively, our minds are allowed to explore all the different avenues of our creative nature and all that stuff. There's going to be a number of people that feel limited, as if they're in a box, like they can't go further, like they can't do more, like they can't impact more people. And this is what we're here to talk about. And for those of you that hear this talk and are like, yo, like this is kind of interesting, you guys really need to listen to episode 26 of the Pre-PT Grind podcast, because that one just like blows the door wide open, blows it wide open. Talking about that specific topic. Obviously, it's Ben Fung and us chatting about it. But yeah, limitations are there. What are some of the ones we got, Casey?
We got GPA is a big one. Kyle Rice is saying it's so easy to place limits on yourself.
Ooh, talk about it,
we got thankful for finding this group this year. Thanks, Tyler Slim. That's Tyler Slim saying that. He's always in the group answering questions. Thankful for you, Tyler, and the video that you gave to us as well.
It's coming soon, Tyler. It's coming soon. You'll be seeing it. But yeah, what Kyle Rice said, man, we always place limitations on ourselves. It's almost like there's, man, okay, y'all about to have me going in. All right, so the one thing, like this is coming from, like, okay, between Casey and myself, Casey usually, like personality-wise, like Casey says he wants to do something, and he does not give a crap who thinks what about it. If he says he's going to do it, he just does it. Like, one time I remember Casey's being like, I'm just all about that action, right? He just does it, boom, 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 doesn't think twice about it. For myself, for a long time, I was the opposite. I was the overthinker. And so what happens is when you overthink, you start to say like, okay, what will people think about it? Or what this or what that? Like that is what limits us, because then we end up talking ourselves out of things. We end up talking to other people that have the same feelings we got, so that they then talk us out of it. What you guys have to realize is you guys were put on this earth for a reason. You guys were put in the field of physical therapy for a reason. What does that mean? It means you don't have to do what everybody else has done, because you are uniquely you, which means that the things that you are passionate about, if you have a desire to serve patients in a way that's outside of what you are seeing, go ahead and do it. Let me give you an example. Physical therapy originated as a nursing profession, right? So you're talking like early 1900s, war, all this stuff, whatever. This is just like standard, trying to get the patient to stand up, to walk, to do all these different things. But y'all notice now with physical therapy, we got women's health. We got sport. You best believe there was no women's health when PT was initiated. You got women's health. You got sports therapy. All these different things are avenues that have been created because someone decided, oh, they don't got that, but they do. They do need that. Patients need that. Women's health, that population needed it. So someone did what? They created it. Now, if every physical therapist that has ever been in existence followed what the first PTs ever did, and we're thankful for them because they founded our profession. Cool. Like, I'm grateful for that. But if we followed every single step that they did and never shifted, then where would we be? We wouldn't have all these other avenues. Honestly, I strongly believe the profession would have died by now. So what we're saying to y'all is your limits could end up choking our profession to death. Y'all let that sink in. Your limits on yourself as a pre-PT, being the future of this profession, could end up being the very thing that chokes this profession to death. So what I'm saying is, if y'all feel a calling to do, like, you guys have so many options now with social media, virtual, anything or what. Like, if you guys feel the need to create something that is serving the U.S. population, if you're overseas in your country, it doesn't matter. Like, if you feel the need to create it, do it, because that's what gives life to the profession. That's what allows us to continue expanding and growing and being and staying relevant, because the people that are like, there's so many people that need us that don't ever access us. Like, there's a statistic that Casey and I have encountered. I think it was Paul Goffin talked about it. He was like, there's a study they did, and they said that if you take 100 patients that need physical therapy, as in, like, whether it's like pre-surgery, all this other stuff, like, they need it. As if they had PT, proper PT, they would be able to avoid a lot of things: surgery, pain meds, all this other stuff. If you took 100 people, only 7 of them have actually come to PT, mostly because a chunk of them were sent to PT maybe by physicians and all this other stuff. But now you have the PTs that are starting to go out there and directly market to those patients. And so that starts to grow. But what that says is there's a chunk of, like, the majority of the United States that actually needs physical therapy doesn't have, like, has not found it relevant because the vehicle in which it has been presented to them has not been appropriate, or it hasn't even been brought up. Like, we haven't even gotten to them, like, in any way whatsoever. But it takes you guys taking the step. Like, it's risky. It seems unpredictable because sometimes it's something that no one else has done, which means that you can't, like, you don't have anyone else to look to and say, oh, it worked out for you, it must work out for me. No, like, it requires you to go out on a limb. But ultimately, that is what will save our profession. And we will be in thanks to you because you took a risk on essentially, like, creating what you want to see in this profession. So look at it. When y'all go to observation hours, assess, like, what are the patient's needs? When y'all are in the hospital, what are the patient's needs? When y'all are in class, look at what you guys are learning. Like, what are the needs? Like, understand people, listen to people, figure out what they need and create it. If it's never been created, do it. Don't limit yourself. Like, I'm telling y'all, like, limitations will choke our profession, y'all. You heard it here.
I think that segues into the next topic pretty well, because I think a lot of people have limitations because they're surrounded by people who they think will judge them if they don't, live up to whatever expectations, if they fail, if they limit themselves, or if they go beyond whatever limits are placed on them from their social group, from their family. So I think that's a perfect segue into relationships and what relationships should you be seeking out as a, not only just pre-PT, but as a person, as a future DPT student, as a future physical therapist, because this is a skill this is something that's just going to keep going, like, throughout your life. So what relationships let's narrow it down. Yeah. Just pre-PTs, because that's our audience. That's who we're talking to. Yep. Who should they seek out? What relationships should pre-PTs seek?
One, I would say start with other people that are in either PT school. Well, this is why the pre-doctor physical therapy students page exists. But other people that are either in PT school or newly graduated. that are on their A game. Reason why I'm saying that is because no disrespect to therapists that have been in the field for a long time, but someone that understands what you're going through is someone that has been there within the last 4 years, is what I'm going to like. It's just that simple. And so finding those individuals to be your guides, to be your mentors, hint, hint, these two guys. Anyway, just playing. But no. Find, like even in the pre-doctor physical therapy students group, if you see someone that has just started PT school, if you see someone that has just been accepted into a PT school, like what did they do? How did they do it? Those relationships, find them. Why am I saying this? Is because even outside of PT school, when y'all finish, you're going to have to do the same thing professionally. Alex Engar just commented. Like that boy, Kyle Rice, Will, all those guys are people that we have connected with because they themselves are a notch higher. So we look up to them and say, y'all got some crazy, amazing things going. So we got to stick with y'all because we know that around you, we're always going to do better than we would do by ourselves. So that's what you have to start with. Start with people that are newly accepted into PT programs, PT students, new grads. Get to know them, message them, call them, tweet at them, whatever you got to do. Make them don't just none of this just asking 2 questions thing. No, form a relationship with them. I usually do that by, messaging them or maybe commenting on their stuff. But when I get on a conversation with them, whether it's by phone or whatever, I make sure that we're going to be good after that. I make sure that I keep communicating with them after that. So lock those people in. Number 2, academically, for the programs, especially for people that have a few years out, start developing relationships on the campuses. I get it. People want to find the chair and all that stuff, whatever. That's actually not that's not the strongest relationship you can actually develop in a program. Well, you have 2 main ones. Students on the campus, because they're the ones that are going to be your lifeline in between. They tell you what's going on as they've experienced it, all that stuff, whatever. But also the, Case, what's that position called? The academic coordinator person?
Oh, the admissions director, the admissions chair.
Yes.
Yeah.
That person should be your best friend. And I'm not trying to overemphasize that. What I'm saying is for our program, I know people who in our program specifically got in because our admissions director spoke up for them, because that's the person that is because when your name's coming up and you've gone through interviews and all that other stuff, everyone's just seeing you from that conversation that they have had. But the conversations and the relationship you build with that admissions coordinator, they're the ones that set things up. They're the ones for interviews. Guess who sets all that stuff up? Boom. Okay, imagine for those of y'all that have been on interviews and y'all man, I went on it was a long day stacked with a bunch, it was a bunch of group interviews. I was the very last one to go in, and it felt like they didn't even want to be there anymore because they had been so exhausted by all the other students. Y'all realize they're not doing that on purpose. It's just that someone's got to be first, someone's got to be last. But if the admissions coordinator is yo, James is on his A game, we got to put him at an earlier spot because I think he's going to show out. I'm not going to put him at the end. They have that kind of power, y'all. So y'all make them your best friend. If that means going to a campus visit and first of all talking to them face to face, cool. If that means sending them an email once a month or once every 2 months, asking questions, not just a casual, hey, just checking up on you. No. Come up with a list of maybe 2 or 3 questions that are good questions that start the conversation, but keep it going, because by the time you actually say, I'm applying, then 6 to 9 months before y'all actually apply, you say, hey, I'm going to be applying this coming cycle. I know we've been communicating. These are things that I have lined up. Is there anything else that you would suggest in order to become eligible as a good potential applicant for your program? And they got your back because you've been doing your part in maintaining that relationship. So that and the students, of course, on that campus will be beneficial. But you can only do that if you do what we always say, pick your top 5 schools. You got to pick your top 5 schools now. You got to pick them. Obviously, if you're applying this cycle, you got limited time. But especially for y'all young pre-PTs that got years to go. Pick your top 5 schools. Like 5 schools based on, it could be based on your GPA. So maybe you're looking for schools that are the last 60 credit hours or whatever. Like, you figure that out. Pick your top 5 schools and then set yourself up to be the perfect applicant for each of those schools. Find your way to that school face to face at least once in the years that you're going to be there for a campus visit or whatever. Make those conversations and those connections legit, because y'all, GPA, I get it. We fret about that. GRE, all that stuff, whatever. All those things when high give you an advantage, of course, but the relationship that y'all develop with these people, the leverage that you get from that is so much deeper, so much stronger, because it's a culture. They're looking for someone that fits their program. And if you're working hard and showing that you fit what they got going, and you're actually going to elevate what they have going on in their program or whatever, like, they're going to want you. They're going to want you. And you're going to be that applicant. So don't limit yourself being the first one. But secondly, those are the relationships that I think you should have as a pre-PT that would, set you apart easily.
Nice. I just want to add on something real quick before we move on to the last one. Relationships with each other. Because who knows? Somebody in this group, somebody who likes a pre-PT grind page, somebody on Instagram, they could be the next Alex Ingar. They could be the next Will Boyd. They could be the next Kyle Rice, Felicia, Chanel. Like, you don't know who these people are going to be. You don't know who you are going to be. That goes back to putting limits on yourself. Mm-hmm. So if you connect, reach out to these people, follow some people on Instagram. There's people like kind of promoting themselves through the page and all that. Yeah, I just got accepted. I just made an Instagram page. Like, go follow them. Who knows down the line, 5 years out, they might be working at a job that you want to get. They might have a connection to a company. They might be teaching something. Who knows? You have absolutely no idea. So if you're kind of scared to email that admissions director right now, just start with your peers. Start reaching out. Get your feet wet. Get warm. Get comfortable with that. Then build your confidence. Then move up to like Alex, Chanel, myself, Greg Todd, Ben Fung. Then go there. Then you get comfortable. Build your confidence. Then you can go for the big guns. Oh, write that cold email. Now I know how to write it. I have confidence. I know how to keep the conversation going, get on a call. And by the time you get to that campus visit or get on that Skype call, you're good. You're good. You have all this backing behind you. You have all this confidence. And it'll be like nothing. It'll be like nothing. Let's see. Man. Like that. Make friends early. Yeah, comments are good. So, last topic. Thankful, right? Thanksgiving,
man. It's like, y'all, it's so easy to let, like, especially for you guys that are on the pre-PT journey, it's so easy to let all the details that seem to not be going right cloud all the amazing things that have happened. And by that, I mean, like, maybe you took your GRE and it didn't go as well as you had hoped. Maybe you were trying to get an A in chem this semester and it became a C+, and you kind of put everything you wanted, like, with all the tools that you had been given, you tried and things just didn't go accordingly. And so those things end up clouding all the amazing things that have happened, and all the amazing things that are yet to happen. And I think the best way to take that mask off is to take the moment to actually be thankful for things that have occurred, because those things are what make us, who we are. They're the things that shape us, that shape our journey, that become testimonies to other people that are still where we were, right? And they want to be where we are. Believe it or not, you guys as pre-PTs, there's a high schooler somewhere saying, man, I can't wait to get into an undergrad program and be in a position where I can leverage myself and set things up. For y'all that have just interviewed and are still waiting for the school to hit y'all up, like, you guys don't realize that there's students that are saying, man, like, I just hope I can have all my stuff together so I can apply next cycle. Y'all already applied. Y'all already finished PT Cast. And now it's just waiting. It's the free fall time. But it's really just being thankful for everything. Because if we ever forget, keep this in mind, if we ever forget to be thankful for our steps, for our journey, we will never be grateful for anything. Like, we will never appreciate where we currently are. Y'all could get into PT school. Y'all could get out of PT school. Y'all could own your business. Y'all could do whatever, and it won't be enough, right? So we want to ask you guys, before, as we share what we're thankful for, what are you guys thankful for this Thanksgiving? What are you guys appreciative of as pre-PTs? It can be as a pre-PT. It can be outside of that. This past year of 2017, what have you guys been what have you guys found to be a blessing for your lives? Share it below, comment below, because we want other people to see it. We want other pre-PTs to be like, yo, I got things I could be thankful for too. Because with that mindset, guys, there's nothing that stops us from accomplishing what we actually want to accomplish ever. So with that said, Casey, man, this past year, what are you thankful for, brother?
Oh, it could be so much, but I'll keep it to a few. So loved ones, of course, the mentors that we've come across, spoken with, given us advice with everything from clinical stuff to studying to this platform now, the colleagues that we've used for advice, the ones who've helped us for the course, the team members that we've had, that we still have, the podcast guests that like take their time out to help us help you. Essentially, like they're taking their free time out for free to give you guys information, advice from different perspectives, everyone from pre-PTs to business owners to people who have tech companies. They're giving their free time like for you to help the future of PT out, because that's basically what you guys are. Next, like our personal mentorship group, them trusting us, like taking that leap with us, you know, like just trusting that they didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't know what they were going to get. They were like, okay, these guys can give me something extra, can give me this extra push. And they leaped in. So we've already did a video in our group for them, so they know how we feel about them. So shout out to our personal mentorship group. And lastly, like you guys in this group, you guys on social media, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, how you guys interact with each other. There's so many other groups out there, so many other forums that have kind of gone down the drain, aren't as positive all the time. So you guys are basically like the lifeline of this whole thing. You guys keep it going. You keep us energized. Like we come out the clinic and like, okay, we got a live. Let's go. Let's pump them up. We get to chat with our homies. Like these are the people that we see all the time online. So let's do it. Let's go. So you guys keep us going. You guys are the lifeline when we can't be in the group all the time, when we can't answer all the questions. It's a community now. It's a family. You guys help each other out. So greatly, greatly appreciate it. So just a few things. I can go on and on, but a few things I'm thinking.
Yeah, brother. Casey, you took all mine, man. But I can't emphasize how grateful we are for you guys. I'm just remembering, like a year ago, Casey and I were just like talking, like not casually anymore. We had talked casually a little before that, but about a year ago, we had this idea. Well, okay, so we have something that we're going to be launching. We've been talking about it, but like the beta group is going to be going through it like starting Sunday. So it's legit. We're not just making stuff up. But that, like, we'll share with you more about it. But with that, like, we had the idea to like put that virtually and really share that with pre-PTs. But we didn't think it would turn out the way it has now. We hadn't thought about like what is now pre-PT grind. It was just this, let's share this out with pre-PTs. Let's not really create anything structured, but it's become pre-PT grind. But also this pre-doctor of physical therapy students page, the pre-doctor of physical therapy students page has been an amazing blessing to really see how, because the thing is, like, y'all have to understand, like, I remember speaking to somebody, you guys have to catch this part. I remember speaking to somebody about like the idea that Casey and I were playing around with. And you know what they said? Like, y'all as pre-PTs should take offense to this. They said like, but what are you really going to provide for pre-PTs? Like, they got everything they need in the websites for the programs. And I was like, no, they don't. Like, they got so many questions. And the only way we know is because on our campus, we knew that every pre-PT had questions. We knew that when we were there, we had questions. So to see y'all like every day, like I'm seeing like post after post after post after post every single day. And it hypes me up because I'm like, they are finding value in this group. They feel comfortable enough to ask each other questions. It's like, hey, for y'all that went to this university, I got a question. And you got like 5 people in there that have been to that university. Boom, answers. Like this doesn't, like, we can't replicate. Like, we can't say we planned that. We can't say we planned that it would be that good. I mean, I'm sure, like, we were thinking it'd be like a group of maybe like 400 people, maybe 500. That's kind of nice. Y'all, we're at like 2,300 people, and we're just getting started. You know what I'm saying? Like, a year from now, it's gonna be like 10,000. Like, pre-PTs, y'all should be the one. Like, y'all should be taking so much ownership in your ability to transform this profession, that this group should have all the cornerstones for what the profession is going to look like in 10 years, period. Like, absolutely. You guys are going to do that by connecting with each other, by obviously asking us questions and the other PTs in your questions, but see the other pre-PTs that are active on the pages and all that. Like keep an eye on them, because they're going to be still active when they're in PT school. They're going to be active in the profession when they're out of it. They're going to be the ones that are not limiting themselves, as we talked about at the beginning. But at the end of the day, we are so thankful for you guys. We look forward to serving you guys more and more. Like Casey said, it don't matter how long our days are in the clinic. It don't matter how exhausted we are. We're just ready and hyped to get on camera and chat with y'all, share podcasts with y'all, and a bunch of other things that we're going to continue doing, because you guys deserve it. It would have been something that we would have valued ourselves as pre-PTs. And so we think it's only right to give you that and more. So thank you guys so much. Continue commenting, even those that see this video afterwards, just so that your fellow friends on this page can see that and gain inspiration from it. So that they with your victories, they'll also realize that they have victories of their own. So appreciate you guys. You guys have a good Thanksgiving. Eat a lot of turkey. Get a lot of sleep, because you'll have the itis after you've eaten. We'll talk to you guys later. Blessings, y'all.